Yes, welcome everyone here to the Smash Evening Show right here on Smash FM here on a Saturday night here in Melbourne. Of course, let's go across to Europe in particular and of course speak to an artist there in the Netherlands. Of course, her name's Anne King. She joins us on Zoom right now. Thanks, Anne, for joining us.
Hello there.
No worries. Well, tell us a bit about, obviously, at the moment with the current situation at this moment, what have you been sort of doing to sort of, keep yourself motivated in the music side of things?
I have a home studio, so I've been recording a lot of demos. I've always been doing everything from home, so it's been working out great.
Obviously, you have your EP that came out already, which is Fake Flowers. Tell us a bit about that.
So I wrote Fake Flowers through, I think, 2018. And then I recorded it the summer of 2019. So it's been a long time coming. And we've been working towards actually like the festival season here in Europe because it's quite big here. But unfortunately, everything was canceled. So now we're just working on the next project. But it's lovely. A lot of people have been listening to it, and it was a very personal project for me. And it's my first really big EP because there are 7 tracks on it, and I hadn't done anything like that previously. So it was a lot of fun making it.
Now, obviously, there's already been a lot of hours and a lot of work going into this EP. For anyone that don't understand, I guess, how much work goes into it, how long did this EP went for?
It took about a year to make it because I wanted to have the right tracks, and it took me a while. And the last track on the EP that I wrote was Up in Flames, and I actually finished it about an hour before I went into the studio because I really wanted a fun track about being true to yourself, and I didn't have that on the EP yet. So I wrote it like really shortly beforehand, but it took about a year to write the songs and to record them because it takes a lot of time. And I wanted to make it as perfect as possible.
Now, obviously, you would love to perform all these amazing singles that you got on your EP in person and in live gigs. How frustrating is it for you to, you've released it and obviously all of a sudden you can't really perform any of it in front of your amazing fans over there?
Yeah, it is quite frustrating. However, I think the most important thing right now is the health of the general public. And secretly, we performed the tracks the summer beforehand when I was touring through Austria. So we already performed the songs just to see if they would work. And obviously they did, otherwise they would not be on the EP. So it would have been nice to perform them full band though, because we did little acoustic shows because it was easier that way, because you can just perform anywhere. And we had some really cool shows planned with like the full band, but unfortunately that's not gonna happen anytime soon. So yeah, it would be really cool to perform somewhere next year, I think.
Now, have you already started working on your next EP?
Yeah, I actually finished several tracks already, so the demos are done. And I'm planning on, I don't know, finishing it like somewhere next year. Because the tracks are doing actually quite well, better than I expected. So that's a lot of fun to see.
You mentioned about, obviously, the 7 singles on this EP that we've been talking about. I guess, is there one that, that you love performing, obviously, or producing the most?
I loved Paris the most because it was, first of all, it was the biggest challenge because I had this concept in my mind where I wanted it to feel like you were walking through the streets of Paris with me. And I'm a big Mary Poppins fan, and I really love all like the elements in Mary Poppins. So when I went into the studio, I actually brought the Mary Poppins album with me. And I was like, I want it to sound like this, but like in a poppy way. Like I want to take people on a walk through Paris with me and let them feel what the city is like. which was a big challenge because there are not a lot of examples for that. So Paris is probably my favorite because it was the biggest challenge, and it turned out, I feel like it turned out quite good. So that would probably be my favorite. And that's the one people have been loving the most on the EP so far. So that's really good to hear.
Now, I know most artists at the moment have done some live streaming online. Have you done that yourself?
Not yet. We're actually working on a live stream right now because my EP is about to hit 100,000 streams. So when it does, we're going to do a live stream with the entire band. But we're just trying to figure out the logistics because I live in this in the middle part of Holland and they live in the south of Holland, and like all the borders are closed and you're not really supposed to travel, because I moved back home after I studied in the south of Holland and they stayed there. So we're just trying to figure out how we're going to do it because it has to be safe for everyone.
Now, I have to ask, how did you get involved in the music scene and why did you go into the music industry?
I started doing musicals at our local theater when I was about 8 years old, and I just really, really loved it. And then when I went to high school, I chose a high school that had a professional stage in like the cafeteria area. So there were a lot of opportunities for me to perform, and they had like these performing nights for bands, which you could audition for. So that's kind of where it started. And I just really, really loved it. And then after I went to high school, I went to the Royal Academy of Arts. So I studied art for a bit. And then I went to the Rock Academy in the south of Holland, and I studied there. And that's where I met the rest of my band. I actually worked under a different name before because my name is Anne-Marie. But then the English singer, Anne-Marie, came up with her hit Rockabye. So I had to change my name. But it was really, it's just been a lot of fun. And I really love performing. And I've toured like in Europe several times now as an independent artist. And it's just so much fun. I wish I could do this for the rest of my life. So, yeah.
Now, throughout your music journey, I'm assuming there would have been some amazing moments or highlights throughout your journey so far. Is there one, or maybe give us a top three that really stands out to you throughout your music journey?
I performed in London at this like, I don't know, it was like a show night for up and coming talent, and they contacted me and they were like, do you want to come to London to perform here because we really love your music? And this was back when I was still performing as Anne-Marie. And I released my single Lucky Penny that night, and that was about my grandpa passing away, and he was one of my biggest supporters. And I sang it that night, and the entire front row of people was crying to the song. And I was just standing on stage and I was like, wow, I had no clue this would resonate with people like that. Yeah, that was quite spectacular for me. And then last summer when we were touring in Austria, we were performing at this student bar. And they actually sold tickets and they sold out the venue, but nobody knew me. So we got there and the entire venue was filled with people, and they had all beforehand been listening to my music. So when we started performing, they actually could sing along. And that was so crazy because first of all, I've never sold out a venue, even though it was like really small. And second of all, like my dream is to stand in front of a crowd and hear people singing the lyrics back to me. I think when people know lyrics by heart, it means your music means something to them. So that was quite a thing for me as well. And then just being able to work with my best friends, so my bandmates and my producer, is really, really awesome. So those are my highlights.
Now, obviously you had a chance to perform in London, and especially they're fanatic in music over there in Europe. How special was that to get the call to perform in London? And I guess how surreal was it when you first performed in London?
It was quite a surprise actually that they called me because I didn't expect it. And London in general, it's just a totally different vibe there than here in Holland. It was really, really cool. And I met a lot of really great artists as well, and they're all doing great as well. So that's really cool to watch. So I really hope I can go back like next year.
Now, is there one place around the world that you have been to that you'll love to go back to again and perform once this whole thing disappears?
Um, I would love to go back to Boston because I have a twin brother and he studies there at the moment, and we were supposed to go there. But then Corona came and we weren't allowed to fly. So I was supposed to go there, and last year when we went there, there was an opportunity for me to perform. However, I was sick, so I wasn't able to. So I would really love to go back and perform in Boston because it's just a really great city, and I like the people a lot. It's just a beautiful place to be.
Now, other than obviously performing in Boston, I know we've been getting messages from our Australian listeners, and especially fans of yours that are dying to know, would you love to be performing down here in Australia one day?
I would love to go to Australia. I think Australia is absolutely amazing. So yeah, I would love to come to Australia.
And what will be your message to your Australian fans that, be hoping to obviously have a chance to see you in person one day?
To keep sending messages to radio stations so I can come down there and actually perform because I would love to. I think Australia is absolutely fantastic and it's really high on my list to go there.
Now, considering what you've achieved and especially all the amazing performances and moments that you've had in the music industry, what does music mean to you now?
Music means the freedom to express myself. My music has always been a form of therapy for me. So when I haven't written a song in a while, I just feel like an itch, like there's a song coming and I don't know what it's about to be. So it's just a way of expressing myself and letting myself feel. And whenever I'm stressed, I sing and I feel better instantly. So it's just part of life, really. There's nothing else I would want to do.
Now, for anyone that's going to listen to your music for the first time after this interview and trying to figure out what type of genre of music that you perform, just tell us a little bit about what genre of music that what our listeners be hoping to listen to.
Well, in general, it's just pop music, but then with influences from R&B and a little bit of country, because I really love country music and I like the elements. So we have a slight guitar solo in it as well, but it's mostly just I think it's mostly just stepping into my mind and hearing what my thoughts sound like. I think that will describe it the best because there isn't a specific genre I would like to attach to it.
Now, you mentioned country music. Obviously, you'd be hoping to go over to Boston and perform very soon once it's all over. Is Nashville somewhere along the line for you to perform?
I hope so one day. I would love to go to Nashville and write with some people there. I would also love to go to New Orleans and see what the blues scene is like, because I've heard a lot of stories from my grandpa and they were all amazing. So just music in general is really, it touches me in a way. Nothing has ever touched me before. So yeah, music everywhere.
Now, I have to ask, now obviously the Netherlands or Holland, most of our listeners would know. Tell us, how's the music scene like over there in the Netherlands?
Our biggest artists momentarily are dance producers. So we have like Martin Garrix and Arno van Buuren. The pop music scene isn't that big, so most of my fans are actually from outside the Netherlands. The top 5 on my Spotify right now is the United States, the United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, and Mexico. So Yeah, I don't know. I'm not quite sure. We don't really have a pop scene. We have a lot of indie rock bands and a lot of dance producers. So we'll see where it goes.
And is that something you might be be hopefully do some groundbreaking over in the Netherlands to hopefully get fans over there to hopefully enjoy the pop and your type of music?
Yeah, why not? I think the Netherlands are a great ground to start on. They just need to find out I exist.
Now, what are your short and long term goals in music once this COVID situation blows away?
Well, first of all, I would like to perform with my band again. We're probably just gonna start in the Netherlands because we're not really allowed to cross borders yet. And my long-term goals, like at the end of all this, I would love to be able to perform all over the world and just do like stadium tours. That would be really cool. And just make people feel at home at my shows. Like I've watched the Royal Albert Hall concert from Adele several times. And every single time I watch it, I feel like I'm sitting in her living room drinking tea with her. So that would be my ultimate goal, like to talk to people, sing them their music, and make them feel like they're hearing it firsthand in my living room. Like I let my friends listen to it. Like I just want to be friends with people.
Now, we mentioned your band quite a few times in this interview, and you've mentioned it. You might as well tell us a bit about your band members.
I have a drummer named Thomas, a bass player named Dean, and a guitarist named Sander. And I all met them at the Rock Academy where I studied. And they're just really great guys, really great musicians, and just fun people to hang out with. So whenever we rehearse for live shows, it's a lot of fun. So I hope we can go back to that very soon.
Now, what will be your advice to our viewers or our listeners out there that should get involved in music?
Um, First of all, just listen to your heart for which music you want to make. Don't let people question your own judgment. In the end, you have to like the music you make, and it's not up to people around you to decide which music you should make. And second of all, just keep going. It's a long, very long road. It's very hard, but it's worth it in the end. If you do it for the love of music, like there's nothing better.
Now, we'll finish with a couple of light-hearted questions as well, which is any embarrassing moments on stage?
I've forgotten my own lyrics several times, um, which is quite awkward. But I always make something up. Uh, and when I used to do musicals, I tripped over my own feet quite a bit uh, because I was a very, very clumsy kid.
Now, talking about, have you had, is there any stage throughout your performance that you just went, oh no, forgot the words to, the song, forgot the lyrics completely to a song?
Yeah, I've done that one time, and I was at like one of the biggest festivals here in the Netherlands a few years back, and I was just standing on stage like, I have no clue. I'm just gonna wait this one out. Because I just blacked out and I was just standing there like, well, at least my band sounds great. So that was just, pretty much an instrumental.
Have you had a chance, when you forgot the songs, have you just went, I'm just going to make up some words and hopefully, and then you sort of surprise yourself?
Yeah, I've done that once when I actually surprised myself, and that was in Austria. And that was with a song we hadn't released yet. So I was like, maybe these lyrics are actually better. And that was a bit up in flames. So I changed the second verse. And it actually turned out better. And I was like, wow, maybe we should record that.
Now, of course, I have to ask, do you have like a ritual that you go through for yourself prior to a performance?
Prior to a performance, I don't really have a ritual. I just make sure I drink enough water. And I have this glass tube that you blow through. It's called bubbling. It's really good for like your vocal cords to warm them up. So that's what I do, and I just make sure I connect with my band before we go on stage, because I find it really important that we're on stage like we're a family and we're having fun. Because I think that's when you produce the best music. It's all about being together.
Now, in your band, I'm assuming there's you got some amazing characters within your band. I have to ask, who's the comedian, or either yourself or the band, and who they think they're best dancers out of you or the band?
The comedian is definitely my drummer, Thomas. He's very, very sarcastic. It's hilarious. And the best dancer would have to be my guitarist, Sander. He, whenever you put on music, he just starts dancing. So it's really fun to see.
And of course, I have to finish off with this one last one, which is for everyone that should follow you on the socials and also your music channels. How can I go about following you on the socials?
On the socials, my name is NKingOfficial, and that's on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Spotify, etc. It's just Nking.
Well, Anne, thank you so much for joining us. It's awesome having you on the show. You're our very first European guest that we've had on the show, and we're so excited to have you on it. And obviously, best of luck once this whole COVID situation goes away, and obviously we get to see you down here in the land down under here in Australia, hopefully sometime down the track.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be great.
No worries, and thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
No worries, and that's Nkin there. Of course, you can check out her and, of course, follow her through the socials and obviously the music channel, as she mentioned just before. And, of course, there's more of the Smash Evening Show right after this. Don't go away here on the Saturday edition.